Wonder Woman runs into a new heap of trouble that only Mouseman knows. Let's talk about Wonder Woman number 23, a new book from DC Comics. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Wonder Woman number 23. This is a new book from DC Comics. This follows up a very quick one-shot that we had on the previous issue that was really interesting. It set up something, it's setting up this island of mice and men, which is this new story arc. But I really don't know what is going on. I think that it's once again, Tom King is just giving us something that's a little bit feels off the beaten pad. Once again, Diana's involving herself in something that feels a little bit more against the politics. She really is defying a lot of like the politics of the world that she lives in. Right in the first arc, of course, they were hunting down these Amazons because of the setup and everything that kind of led to well, the really the first 20 issues or so of the story. But now we're exploring Diana crossing some lines in this issue. So we'll talk more about that. This is going to be a really interesting story, I think. But as always, this is written by Tom King with art by Daniel St. Pierre. So main artist is back on artist duties. Tommy Moreau on colors, letters by Clayton Cowell in this issue. After the thrilling conclusion to Diana's fight against the Sovereign, she discovers the battle for peace has only just begun. The rogue Amazon, Emily, has fled to a mysterious island overrun by mice and a tyrant most foul. Can Wonder Woman save her fallen sister and baby before they fall into the wrong hands? Only Mouseman knows. Uh, so this issue does something that's very weird, but I thought it was pretty cool. And Tom King is always trying out these kind of weird little things. All the dialogue that happens on this island, this Mouseman Island, they only have it's really like it's all two different sentences. Only Mouseman knows. Mouseman knows. That's one of them. And then mice have ears. Mice have ears. Mouseman knows. That's all they say. Like all their dialogue. So think about it like in Star Wars, like how the droids just communicate with beeps and boops, but everybody still knows what they're saying. It is the same thing, except that it's only those two phrases. Um, and then I think that Tom King does something really interesting because he makes it feel like we open up at this school where we see Emily and some of the other kids that live on this Mouseman Island. Um, and it all feels normal until it doesn't. Like Tom King shows something that it's very graphic, it's a little violent, and you very much know immediately like there's something wrong because things like that keep happening here. I think Daniel St. Pierre does such a good job at illustrating, especially the faces on these people to demonstrate that they are under some kind of duress. But of course, you can't. Mice have ears all over the place, so like they can't just do whatever they want. They can't escape. Um, and St. Pierre does such a really cool Wonder Woman. Like his design for the character, I think it really works. It feels very classic, but it also feels just very powerful, and I really like that. And then, as we kind of get into this, like I said, it it feels like I mean, there's a big metaphor here, but I won't even get too much into all of that right now. I feel like I need a little bit more of this world before we truly understand that. This is gonna be. I feel this is gonna be one of the stories that reads a lot better, maybe all collected at once, like the full arc. But yeah, Diana going against the decree of the Justice League and the world because she knows that it is the right thing to do. And like I said, some really gnarly moments that I really, really enjoy. Uh, very, very surreal. But if you read the last issue with the Mouse Man, like you understand kind of what, like you understand the approach, I think, of what Tom King was setting up. So, and then of course, Wonder Woman brings her baby with her. Like you can even see it in the cover, right? So that's really fun to see as well. Yeah, I really liked this issue. I thought it was weird and quirky and fun. I think I saw some mixed reviews online for it, but like I mean, I feel like if it doesn't click for you immediately, like I can see why this would not be something you would enjoy. I would recommend if you check this out and it wasn't for you, try it again when the full arc is completed, because I think it's gonna read a lot better that way. But I enjoy this. I love reading Wonder Woman month to month. This and Absolute Wonder Woman are completely just kicking ass over at my pull list. So if you pick this up, let me know which cover you picked up for Wonder Woman number 23. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have some comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Can the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles get a fair trial? Let's talk about it in this video. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 10. This is a new book from IDW, part 4 of the New York versus TMNT arc. Turtles are on trial on this one. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Juan Ferreira and letters by Sean Lee. In this issue, the trial of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles begins here. Framed for a murder they didn't commit, the brothers Hamato are prisoners of the Foot Clan awaiting the judgment of the city's greatest criminals. In the battle for New York City, the TMNT have officially lost. So one of the things that I do appreciate here is the parallels of every issue to the Turtles individual issue. All right, specifically this one, like Ralph kind of remembers being back in prison, which is where we found them the first time around in the first arc. So that's really interesting. I like that it feels like the Turtles are finally coming together a little bit. Like, they're still in deep trouble, but they're finally together. They're a little bit more aligned. They're still having some spats because siblings fight, and that's just kind of what happens. But I think Juan Ferrer does such a good job with softening the looks in their faces and then just their body language as they kind of like talk to each other. It doesn't feel as defensive as before. It doesn't feel as aggressive when they're like kind of hashing it out. There's really some sweet moments, but this is just like problem number one of a bucket list of like maybe 10 or 20 problems that the Turtles are facing. We know that the mayor, there's something off about him. He's got this like power. He's got this intensity, but obviously it's also something else, right? There's something more going on. And then Casey Jones is out of action. April is probably the Turtles' last hope, because even the public opinion has really turned on them. Now, can Donatello represent the brothers Hamato in this trial? Because he's been through a lot. He's not in the right headspace, so we don't know if he's. I feel like regular Donnie could have made something of this, but of course, when that doesn't work, maybe sometimes it calls for a little bit of violence once again. So, and a really cool reveal at the end of the last page that has been building up, really for 10 issues, kind of in the background of everything. So, I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of this TMNT run. We are 10 issues in, and that's a big feat when it comes to just another series that I'm getting into, because there's so much to read that sometimes if you don't grab me by issue number 3, then we're gonna have problems. But this has been great reading monthly. So as always, let me know what you thought about this one down in the comments. If you read it, let me know which cover you picked up. I got a lot of these variants, and sometimes it's pretty difficult to figure out which one I'm going to pick. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Bruce has been captured by Bane. Can he escape from this madness? Let's talk about it in this video for Absolute Batman number 10. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Absolute Batman number 10. This is a new book from DC Comics, part of the Absolute line. We continue with the Abomination story. This is part two, written by Scott Snyder with art by Nick Dragotta, Frank Martin on colors, letters by Clayton Cowell. In this issue, Bruce Wayne trapped in Arkham. Bruce Wayne is trapped within the horrors of Arkham as his best friend Waylon Jones endures unimaginable tortures. But what awaits Batman is far more terrifying than either has faced. The true form of Bane is revealed, but it is how Bane plans to break the Batman that will have you, our dear readers, bending over backwards. So, obviously, there's a long history of Bane being the one that eventually broke the Batman's back, and overall, eventually broke his will. So it's really interesting because we'll get to see a few. There's a few first appearances on this one, on this issue, for at least for the Absolute line, of course. So I am really excited about what's going on. As you kind of look, Nick Dragotta's art is probably hitting that next gear because in this issue and in this arc, he gets to draw like really gnarly things, right? I think he's very well known already for in this universe drawing Batman as this really big, beefy, stocky dude, and I think he's got a very distinct style. But we've seen glimpses of like him pushing the boundaries towards more of the horror, like this body horror, right? With Matches Malone when the virus kind of took over. Um, like there's a lot of designs there. So the book is leaning more into the body horror, and Nick Dragotta has come in to really fit that bill. We saw him draw Bane in his like true form after the Venom has been activated. We know that he's more than just this Hulkling running around destroying things. But what is the plan for Bruce? Why does Arkham want him there? Why do they want him as part of these experiments? What are they doing to him? And also, is this all part of is being in captivity all part of Bruce's plan, or is this what is he really trapped in there? We know that he's looking for his friend Waylon, which I love Snyder going back to do little pages of like flashback stories to important moments in these characters' friendships. And we're really focusing a lot on Waylon Jones in this one. Now, we know from his name that he eventually will probably become Killer Croc, but I think we don't know exactly what that means for this Absolute universe. Yeah, and it's really cool. Like Batman, we know that he, even in this universe, is prepared for a lot, but I don't think he's ever faced anything like being in captivity by Arkham. So the combination of that really cool body horror, these really dark panels contrasted with like the lab experiments where they have Bruce, and then we see, like I mentioned, some new characters, some really deformed features. Maybe you'll be able to kind of put together who those people are. Um, but I think the last thing that Snyder does is he adds the last touch, kind of like he did on this first issue, of like Martha is still running around, so there is somebody to worry about Batman other than Pennyworth, right? So what's going to happen there? And what are Batman's friends? What are Bruce's friends doing to maybe try to find them? So it's very interesting. It's very well done. Really cool put together. I think I will recommend if you're somebody that is just jumping into this line, definitely just read the little arcs. Right, we have the first arc, then there's a two part hold, and then there's this new arc. We know from I was able to be at the panel with Scott Snyder where things are going to they're going to go to the next level and change gears around after issue 14. Once this current arc wraps up, they're going to really change gears. And then maybe we'll also learn a little bit more about this world's Joker, who we've seen it's very, very different. So I'm excited to see the secrets of Bane and what that means, and also what has been done to Bruce all throughout this, because this issue takes place over a long time, which is a very interesting way to kind of pace the story. So if you have read this issue, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know which cover you picked up, because as always, Absolute Batman has some of the most banger covers out there. Big shout out to the creative team. They are just really killing it on this book. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, Hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. New Age of Revelation is here, but what does that mean for the X-Men universe? We're going to talk about it in this video for X-Men Age of Revelation number 0. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for X-Men Age of Revelation number 0. Now, before I get into the review, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So, the X-Men have... I feel like the X-Men line, and this is just me personally, has been a little bit hit or miss with a lot of their titles. So I think the Marvel office wants to revamp, and they are trying to maybe pay a little bit of an homage to something that was very popular, right? The Age of Apocalypse, and this new Age of Revelation. I like the idea up front, just of what's going on, but I do hope that eventually the Marvel office figures out a way to more organically bring in the X-Men as part of the vast Marvel universe. I think Krakoa was a really good compromise where, like, yeah, they're on Krakoa, they can do their own thing, but they can also interact with the Marvel universe as a whole, right? There was really good connections between Iron Man, the Iron Man titles, and some of the other Avenger titles where the X-Men were heavily involved. Storm was kind of running around all over the place as well. So I hope they kind of find that. This to me feels like Marvel giving themselves a little bit of space by putting this set in a universe that takes place in the future, X years in the future. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more wary going into this just because I haven't been, like, the stuff that's good at the X-Men line right now. It's pretty good, but some of the other stuff is just very hit or miss. I might do a whole tier list video of like the current X-Men titles for the from the Ashes era. Maybe one, now that a lot of them are either wrapping up or they're coming to some conclusions for arcs, changing teams, all that. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. So, but let's talk about this X-Men Revelation 0 issue. This is a very good intro issue to explain what is going on. This will spin off into a bunch of titles. I'll talk about that in a minute. This book is written by Jed MacKay with art by Humberto Ramos, who is also doing the Fantastic Four book at the moment. So I don't know if he'll be on a title for the X-Men line or if he'll just be working on, if this is just a one-off thing for that. So, but we also have inks by Victor Olazaba and colors by Edgar Delgado. This is pretty interesting. We have also letters and design by Jay Bowen. So in this book, X years from now, which I don't know if it means 10 or just like a, X of like an unknown. It's probably the latter. Welcome to the Age of Revelation. The Revelation territory stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River, a mutant land ruled over by the heir of apocalypse. While on the surface of a kind of mutant utopia, the cracks are beginning to show, and the lie that the land has been built upon stirs the flames of rebellion. Learn how this terrible future came to pass and what it means for the X-Men and the rest of the Marvel Universe in this kickoff to a special by Jed MacKay and Humberto Ramos, plus a glimpse at the many titles where the events of the Age of Revelation will play out in the months to come. So yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit separate from that. So we'll see. Just looking at some of the reviews, like the early reviews for this, like they're pretty positive overall because I think it's an interesting concept. It's just, I feel like it is very difficult to be an X-Men fan at the time, not because of the quality of the titles, just because of it feels like we keep kind of pivoting and zigzagging. So, but bringing in Doug Ramsey, I always do love that, and he is kind of the pivotal character. He is the heir of Apocalypse apparent. So, all right, this was a very interesting story. We see everything through the eyes of Zorn, Shen Zorn, who is one of the characters that's kind of narrating this, and it really is just a way to give us all the exposition that we need. We figure out who the big players are in here, like which X-Men are involved, what's going on, what the inciting conflict is, which feels quite timely because it is an X virus that like after the past few years, I feel like all that stuff is kind of on everyone's mind. So I don't see, and the X-Men have always had kind of like a virus part of their bigger stories as well. Um, like I said, going back to this kind of like Age of Apocalypse feeling type of book. This is not a return to that, but this is just the same feeling, the same kind of premise where like, yeah, this could be an eventual future that happens because of this like one little incident kind of kicks off everything. I really like Doug Ramsey, and it's really fun to see what's happened because he was one of the ones that disappeared after the fall of Krakoa. So it's really cool to see. Even Jed McKay has a big thing of like why Doug Ramsey is the heir of Apocalypse and what's going on. But of course, it's really cool to kind of bring in some of those mutants that you don't normally see to kind of um, augment the story and really propel it to make sure that it makes sense. Humberto Ramos is great on art here. It feels very different than his normal art. There's also a really cool cover by Ryan Stegman, and there are flourishes of what I normally feel like Humberto Ramos's art looks like, but there are some other places where it really feels very different. Like the more I look at it, the more I feel like it's Humberto Ramos, but maybe it has to do a lot with the anchor. Um, that some of the art feels a little bit heavier, and it really fits within the context of this apocalyptic world. The colors are muted, especially for a lot of the flashback sequences, which I think really works. And the dialogue is just very clear. So I think the whole team just did. If you want an intro book, this is exactly how you do it. It's very well paced. There's definitely a lot to take in. So like I can understand people um, being like, what in the world is going on? But yeah, I really think that you definitely get a lot for your money here because this is a $5 issue with just a normal cover. So I can't imagine what some of the other covers are going to be. So if you have been wanting to get back into the X-Men, this book is probably a good jumping on point if you want to just kind of skip all of the Age of Krakoa for now, or the From the Ashes era for now. And I think it's going to lead to some really interesting titles that we'll learn more about probably at Comic Con. Comic Con's coming up. A lot of these series, this doesn't start till October, so I'm surprised that they did it here. But I think it's a good way to kind of tell the world like these things are coming. Make sure to order them in advance so that they, because they want to know which series they want to keep around. But also, they want to make sure to know that some of the X-Men lines that you're kind of reading are probably going to end because of this. So we have about 16 titles that have been announced in this world. We have the Amazing X-Men, the Unbreakable X-Men, Binary, Cloak or Dagger, sorry, Long Shots, the Omega Kids, which seems very interesting within the context of this book, the Sinisters 6, Undeadpool, Expatriate X-Men, The Last Wolverine, which is interesting because Laura Kinney's Sabretooth, she has her own title as well. We have Iron and Frost, which I think the world really just loved. At the end of the Iron Man series and the Age of Krakoa, like Emma Frost and Iron Man, I think they really made a very good team. We also have the Radioactive Spider-Man, the X-Vengers, Rogue Storm, and then, of course, X-Men Book of Revelation, which I believe is going to be the main series, kind of where everything's going on. So, yeah, it's a lot of really interesting titles. I am switching some of my reading habits for the X-Men, where I'll check out a number one and then just kind of wait till the arc is complete and go back and read it either on Marvel Unlimited or maybe get the collection as a whole. It's also an easier way for me to do reviews on the channel because there's a lot of books. Like I just talked about 16 different books that are going to come out for the X-Men line. This is only the X-Men line. It doesn't include all the other Marvel titles. So I don't think they're going to stop all the other titles, but we'll see. I don't know if this is going to be an event that is worldwide. I can't see them slowing down on things like Amazing Spider-Man and Fantastic Four that really have their own momentum. So we'll see. But all that to say, if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you think of the upcoming Age of Revelation. Let me know who your favorite character is on the X-Men, because I think that's always fun. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. You know what it means and what it takes to be a red shirt in Star Trek? We'll find out in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Star Trek Red Shirts #1. This is a new book from IDW, written by Christopher Canwell, with art by Megan Levins, colors by Charlie Kirkhoff, and letters by Jody Troutman, editor Heather Antos, who edits, I believe, most of the Star Trek line over at IDW. This is a 5-issue miniseries which will spotlight Starfleet's infamous red shirts, once nameless expendable security officers on a covert mission on the icy planet of Arconia 89 aboard the USS Warren. These crew members confront the hostile wildlife, extreme elements, hidden spies, and the crushing burden of knowing their uniforms are synonymous with death. So yeah, if you're not too familiar with Star Trek, the red shirt, the ongoing bit is that those are the characters that normally die in the episodes, right? Specifically, the original Star Trek, and that's just kind of been the lore ever since. So when this was presented, even though I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan, I really have been dipping into the comics because I think that first of all, Heather Antis is putting together a really cool set of creators and stories that they're being told, but also they're bringing series that are very new reader friendly. Even if you're not somebody that knows a lot about the Star Trek universe, you can dip in and out because it's really stories about characters that are relatable, characters that are interesting, and then especially a series like this with the talent behind it. I'm a big fan of Christopher Canwell, and I really wanted to check it out. Even if I didn't know anything about Star Trek, the fact that Canwell's name was attached to the book, I was going to check it out regardless. Now, I will say, I think going forward, I will not make a video for every issue, but we'll definitely revisit this series when all 5 issues are out. The series focuses on a lot of serious moments and then some tongue-in-cheek things that happen that are both entertaining, but they also kind of raise tension. It's a very smart and character-driven. I think it really brings to life what it means to be a red shirt, but also it's funny, it's humorous, but it's like this dark tone of humor. So yeah, but what I really enjoy the most is that as we were getting to the end of the series of this issue, uh we get kind of pulled into this mystery, right? Which is really cool. Not only do we meet these two red shirt officers, one of them is a rookie, the other one's more of a veteran, which kind of defies the odds of being a red shirt. And they crash land on this planet. But yeah, there's foreshadowing of a larger mystery, and I think Christopher Canwell is really good at doing that kind of stuff. Now, also the issue opens up with some of the gnarliest Star Trek violence that I've seen, but it doesn't focus on that. It really focuses on the day to day of these characters until they're kind of thrown into this new dilemma. I think the art fits very well. The tone shifts a lot from like this lighthearted, more comedic tone to like this very serious, tense moments, and it it really highlights how flexible the Star Trek property is as well. But yeah, everything I feel looks like it should, like what I've seen, the imagery that I've seen from Star Trek. But then there's also like these new additions that I don't think that have always been very explored. And then as we meet these characters, don't get too attached to anyone wearing a red shirt. That's all I'll say. So yeah, really interesting. I don't know exactly where this fits in the timeline of Star Trek or as a whole. So if you know a little bit more about that, let me know down in the comments. But I highly, highly recommend you check out this first issue of Red Shirts #1. There's some really gnarly covers. I think Chris Sheehan is doing one that I'm probably going to pick up because I'm a really big fan of their work. So if you want a book that deals a little bit with mortality and fate and just the self-awareness of like maybe being somebody that will probably die because that's kind of your job, or if you want a book that explores some humor and horror and then just kind of really balances those tones, or even just like the spy elements of these covert operations and the larger secrets that are afoot, I think this is a great book for that. So if you have read this, let me know about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. The world of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon continues in this prequel comic, Rebel Moon Nemesis. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Rebel Moon Nemesis #1. This is a new book from Titan Comics. This is part 1 of 4, so it's a miniseries very similar to The House of the Blood Axe. This is, of course, with a story by Zack Snyder, written by Gail Simone, art by Federico Bertoni, colors by Faris Macy, and letters by Anwell Design. In this prequel set in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon universe, this miniseries explores the origins of Nemesis before becoming the feared cyborg warrior seen on screen. She's an innocent civilian whose life is shattered when Imperium soldiers massacre her family. A raw, revenge driven origin story styled like a Western but set against this galactic backdrop. Um, I was very much looking forward to this series. I think it's really cool that the world of the Rebel Moon films continues in the comic book form, and we get to spend a little bit more time with some of these characters that maybe did not get a full backstory, a full way to uncover who they were. I think something that's very interesting about this specific issue, before I get into the full review, uh, the project began, and this is from a recent email that I received from Titan Comics. Gail Simone kind of just put out there, maybe in an interview, or like she expressed that she really enjoyed the character of Nemesis and would one day love to write her. This eventually got back to Zack Snyder, and of course, then they met up, and here we have now the Nemesis series, which is very very cool. I think Nemesis was one of the standout characters as far as like design. She wields the swords, right? So that's always very cool. And overall, she was just a really badass character. And Gail Simone can write a badass character. So, and I think a revenge story just really fits the idea of who this character is by the time that we met them in the film. So I really was engaged with the story, going back through the years from her origin, from the initial incident, and then from the list of people, if you will, that she now wants to destroy as part of her revenge plan. So this was great. I really enjoy the art too. It really feels very stylized, very it feels very foreign of the world, because we are seeing things through a flashback, through a lens of maybe memories. It really doesn't need to be photorealistic, right? This is kind of how you would remember it. And of course, it really works with the aesthetic of Nemesis and how badass the character is. This book is gory, it's violent, but overall it's just really entertaining. Now I think this will be a lot better once I read all 4 issues, but I was very much hooked by the first issue, and I very much enjoyed it. The book explores a little bit of the revenge and trauma, as this narrative kind of centers on this personal tragedy for Nemesis, how from a regular person she kind of has to become this warrior, and there's this transformation that she loses her innocence and she's hardened into this killer that we know by the time we see the movies. But then of course also contrasting the oppressive Imperium forces against the people's fight to reclaim their power. So yeah, I think it all really works. I'm a very big fan of Gail Simone. Whether it's stuff like Birds of Prey from DC Comics, even something like The Secret Six, which is a very underrated book in my opinion. She really knows how to capture these characters' voices. She's written Red Sonja, so she knows how to tell stories with badass female characters. And Nemesis just happens to be the next one on the list. So I couldn't think of anyone better. And then, like I said, because I am a fan of this Rebel Moon universe, I'm always very excited to see when the universe keeps expanding. This was something that was announced a while back, and I'm very glad that it's finally out. So, if you have checked out Rebel Moon Nemesis #1, let me know about it down in the comments. I will very likely continue to cover the series once it's all done, after the 4 issues are dropped, just because I feel it's an easier way for me to tell you about the overall feel of the series as opposed to going chapter by chapter. But I will definitely keep reading these individually. So, as always, Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe. Let me know which cover you picked up because there are so many cool covers here. But even the main cover is pretty badass. As always, stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Are you ready to meet the worst Transformer ever? Well, let's talk about it in this video where we cover Transformers' worst bot ever. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Transformers Worst Bot Ever, where we meet Ballpoint. Ballpoint is this nice little Transformer that we meet in this book. This book is from Image Skybound, written by Brian Smitty Smith with art, colors, and letters by Mars Jr. In this book, we meet Ballpoint, a tiny Decepticon who transforms into a pen, the biggest failure of the lot. After yet another botched mission, he's booted out of the Decepticons. Determined to prove that he's worth something, he tries to sneak into Autobot HQ, but instead of rejection, he finds acceptance and a chance to redefine what it means to be the best. So before I got into this book, I didn't realize that this was a middle grade reader's book. So like around ages 8 to 12. But it's a really fun, lighthearted tale full of laughs, self-discovery, Transformer humor, Transformer shenanigans, and then of course we get to meet and follow this new character, Ballpoint. So I actually really like the physical copy. Right, it's a little bit smaller because a lot of these books are smaller because the audience has smaller hands, but it's really well put together. It's great quality. So let's get into the actual contents of the book. Uh, Before I get into more details, this book is really fun and wacky. Like the tone of the book, not only does it take you back to that retro 80s art style from G1 Transformers, but there's a lot of cool action, really funny lines, a lot of emotional things happen, right? So I think it's a really fun kind of a roller coaster ride. It's just like fun every page, and it's about 90 pages or so. I think it's 96 pages, and it reads very nice, very smoothly. I mean, like I said, this is aimed at younger audiences, so I was able to just sit there and read it um, for very quickly. But I had a really good time. Like, you know, whether we are following the missions that he's kind of failed on, or the Decepticons picking on Ballpoint, or his plans, like his devious plans to attack the Autobots, and how he kind of also keeps failing at that. But overall, I think the message of like being accepted by somebody else and them shining on your true strengths, it's what really works for the book. The art is fantastic. As I mentioned, the designs feel very much like a G1 Transformers, but they're also very stylized, very definitely kid friendly. Like especially Ballpoint, like I can already picture a young Transformers reader like having Ballpoint as their favorite Transformer because he's just such a weird little goofball. Um, he feels like he's bigger and better than he really is, but overall, then throughout the book, you really learn that maybe he does have that special something that it takes to be a great Transformer. And you know, whether you picked up the little free comic book day preview that we got this past May, it was a really nice tease for this trade. You know, and a book that I think that centers along a desire to prove yourself and discovering the value that isn't defined by traditional means or traditional strengths. Um, I think that the book also kind of focuses on maybe it's okay to make mistakes as long as you're able to kind of learn and grow from that, but also just leaning into focusing on the people around you and them finding those people that accept you for kind of who you are. I think that's all very important for young readers. So I really liked it. I had not read many kid-friendly series from Transformers, but now that we have this whole new era over at Image Skybound, I think this is something that's very fun, and I hope they do more stuff like this. Now, this is not connected at all to the Energon universe, so if that's something you were waiting on, this is probably the wrong place for that. But I definitely do recommend it. Like I said, it's I think it's pretty good price. It's like $12.99 for just this little book. It's great for like those scholastic reading fairs or like maybe a reading challenge. I think this is a great way to get people, young readers, into comic books. But like I said, it's for all ages. I had a good time with it as well. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Godzilla finally destroys the Marvel Universe. Can anyone really stop him? Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe #1. This is the new series for Marvel Comics. We've had all the Godzilla one-shots, and to be perfectly honest, they were not all my favorites. There were some that I didn't find entertaining at all, but I am very excited about this book itself because of the creative team. So let's talk about them. This is written by Gary Duggan, who is one of my favorite Marvel writers. Like, any book that Gary Duggan is in, I'm going to check out. We have art by Javier Garron, colors by Jesus Aburtov and Andrew Delhouse, letters by Travis Lanham, a main cover by Mark Brooks, but this is a Godzilla book, so you're going to have plenty of covers by Leinil Francis Yu, Pete Woods, Dave Watcher, E.J. Sue, John Tyler, Sean Galloway. Like, there's a lot of different covers for this, so make sure to check those out. Let me know in the comments which one you picked up. In this issue, Lookout New York, a previously dormant Godzilla has been angrily awoken and begun carving a path of annihilation as Earth's mightiest heroes band together to try to stop the Cataclysm rampage. But when their combined efforts to fail to slow down the bringer of destruction, Earth's heroes are forced to go to extraordinary lengths to try to bring Godzilla down, including joining forces with Earth's most devious villains. But will this be enough to stop Godzilla as it tears through the Marvel Universe into the Dark Dimension and other realms? Plus, how is the King of Monsters connected to the mysterious metal vibranium? And what does this mean for Wakanda? In the face of an unstoppable force of nature, the Marvel Universe must come together like never before in this earth-shattering fight for Earth's survivals. It's all hands on deck in the first of 5 electrifying chapters of this epic saga. So just based on this first issue, before I get into all the more details than the description gave us, I really like this book. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's a whole lot of it's what I wanted from those one shots, where it's like, yeah, we got the heroes and they really just kind of try to fight Godzilla. Of course, Godzilla is an unstoppable machine. This being that is this is probably, it's early in the pages on, so I'll kind of spoil this a little bit. We have a celestial that comes out of the earth, and Godzilla just tears it apart like it's nothing. So that just kind of tell you, like, Gary Duggan really smartly tells you the level of stuff that you're dealing with, because our Marvel heroes already struggled with containing a celestial. How are they going to deal with a creature that destroyed the celestial like it was nothing? So yeah, I really like this book. It's really fun. I think I was not expecting how funny it is. Like, there's a lot of moments of levity within amongst all the chaos, which I think is really cool. It's definitely what I'm looking for in a Godzilla book. Like, I want it to be weird, I want it to be wacky, and I think Gary Duggan really captures the tone. Javier Garron just perfectly and captures having to draw this massive chaos, the destruction, but also captures those really cool moments of Godzilla blast and like Godzilla coming out of the earth, the Avengers kind of freaking out, Pietro running around trying to save people, Godzilla tearing through buildings, or maybe Thor getting whacked into space after Godzilla hits him with his tail. Like, just all this stuff is really well captured. I will say that synopsis gives you a lot more than this first issue. I don't know if this was maybe meant to be a longer issue, but you don't really get to see a team up of heroes and villains in this first issue. So they really are, I guess, spoiling a little bit of what's to come, because that's definitely not in this first book. So either way, I'm very excited. I really enjoy this, and I can't wait to see what's next. Um, I don't know if I'll be covering this on a monthly basis, or maybe I'll just do a follow up video once the series is wrapped as a whole. I think those work out better because I'm able to really focus and talk about the whole series, and also it's easier for new readers to kind of jump in on that, and new people watching the videos to really focus on. You can either watch just the first issue, or here's the full series if you read everything. So either way, yeah, I'll be talking more about this. So let me know what you thought about this one. Let me know which cover you picked up, because as I mentioned before, there are a great plethora of covers, including one where the Godzilla looks like the Thing, like he's got the Thing's rocks all over him, which is interesting. We also know that based on the cover for the next issue, there might be a Venomized Godzilla, which seems like a really like that just seems like a blast. So, as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. All right. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Red Before Black, issues 1 through 6. Now, I have previously done a review for the first issue of the series. You can check that out if you haven't gotten through the full series, or if you want to get. I'm not going to go too deep into spoilers, but there's definitely going to be some things that I talk about from the latter issues. This is a book written by Stephanie Phillips, illustrated by Goran Sutsuka, colors by Iver Zvorsina, and letters by Tom Napolitano. Our friends over at Boom Studios allow me to check this out, so then I can bring you a full review for all issues. Now, I'm a big fan of Stephanie Phillips, whether it's the superhero stuff over at DC or Marvel, or create her own work like Grimm over at Boom Studios as well. Like, this was a book that I wasn't sure where it was gonna fall as far as the specific genre and things that were gonna I had never seen a story that was kind of like in this crime noir. This takes place in Florida, so it's a very specific feel that I had not seen from Stephanie Phillips. But you can definitely tell that the characters are very well planned out. And then, of course, with the great art from Goran Sutsuka to just really make this come to life in a way that it's very endearing, but it's also very interesting. So, this book follows Val, a disgraced Army veteran sent to Florida on an FBI sanctioned mission to take down Leo, a charismatic drug runner who's off script. As they clash, they face a shared mysterious threat that turns their mission into a high stakes thriller. Florida's underbelly becomes a vivid backdrop for this fast paced crime saga. So, yeah, this is a really cool, like, if you enjoy crime stories that have a lot of twists and turns, I think this is a great book for that. I will say this read to me really well altogether. So I read the first issue, and then I read the second issue, but I didn't make a video for that one. And I really just felt like, because I want to make sure that I give the characters the time that they deserve, it would be better for me to just read it all at once. So now that issue 6 is out, I can definitely do that. I think some of the highlights here is like Stephanie Phillips knows how to make you learn about these characters' backstories without just feeling like it's a whole bunch of information coming at you. It feels a very natural way of expanding on their backstories, getting to know them. And I think the pacing of this book is also something that works really well, because you want to have a little bit of mystery in a crime story, right? You don't want to put it all out up front. There's a lot of really cool reveals, a little bit of twists and turns. Of course, Val and Leo get into a lot of trouble. At the same time, they're getting into shenanigans. But in the meanwhile, we're also learning a lot about their stories and what's going on with them. So it's a really fun exploration. It's like this. It's the equivalent of a buddy cop if both of the cops were criminals and they had to get away. It's just an odd couple story, right? Val is very much very serious, very focused, whereas Leo is a little bit more of a goofball when it just really doesn't take things too seriously, but still somehow manages to get herself in and out of trouble, whether it's um, whether it's them running into each other at a club and just kind of unexpectedly uh, becoming friends or allies, or maybe just even in a way not so much that, but just people that depend on each other, and then from there the relationship can grow. What I really enjoyed about the book is that it also deals with a lot of trauma, right? I think both Val and Leo, um, they have gone through a lot of really gnarly stuff throughout their lives, that I won't get too much into detail, but you can definitely tell that it would be something that maybe not everyone is equipped to handle, and maybe they're not even equipped to handle it, and maybe they haven't been handling correctly. But with each other's support and help, that kind of maybe allows them to find a way to explore that and deal with it a little bit better, because they kind of found somebody that understands all the stuff that they've been through, right? I think their evolving relationship really becomes the emotional core of the story, as it kind of oscillates between who's in control, who's got the upper hand, and then do they have to work together. I think Florida is a really interesting setting for this because it Florida has so many different, like, of course there's the part of the city, there's a part where the swamp, so like there's a lot of different places where you can change the setting in a very dramatic way. It almost functions like a third character that's kind of running along with our main characters here. And there's a little bit of noir, there's some supernatural stuff that happens where you kind of question yourself, is this really happening, or is this just because of it's the best way to present it artistically? So there's a lot of suspense, a lot of surreal imagery in this book, um, a lot of really cool highlights of, I think the color red is very important, and that's why it's, I think, part of the title. But it really just kind of naturally comes into the book. So as I mentioned, I think the art team just does such a good job at bringing these characters to life, making it feel realistic, making it feel gritty. But then you have those really crazy, flashy, impressive visuals that change the tone every once in a while. There's some really kooky characters. There's some really sad stuff too. Like it's very interesting when the mood really shifts very abruptly from page to page, and I think that just has a lot to do with how well timed the script for this book is, right? There's a lot of things that happen on a in a page turn reveal, which is very interesting. I always like seeing how those things work out, specifically when you're reading this. So I can't wait to go back and check this out. I think this is going to be a great collection. So if you're waiting for this, there'll be a collection later on from Boom Studios. They usually collect their stories and they do it in such a good way. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Really enjoy the story, and I thought these characters were very interesting to follow along. And I think you'll be very surprised when you get to the end and you figure out everything and how all the pieces kind of fall into place, or how all the pieces just kind of end up in the board. So, if you like crime stories, if you like surreal art, if you like an odd couple type of tale, I think this is the best book for you at the moment. So, highly recommend you check it out. So, if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.